Now, the worst of the worst, South Korea in the fertility rate. We're gonna talk about them today, and it's not gonna be pretty. I'm gonna say that just from the start. Now, South Korea, we can find around 50 million people. You're gonna see they have a good state growing, but the growing rate, it's going down, and it's gonna go down as fast as possible. But now let's look back in the past a bit. 1955, 22 million people, now 51, so already a difference. 2.2 growing rate, now it's 0.10 on the minus, so already see bad things happening. Back then they have around, let's say, 500,000 people net growing. Now they are minus 50,000. So with migration, you can see they have migration pretty much from the entire history, except a few things, a few years, but most of them, they are on the plus on migration. And even here, starting from 2022, which again pandemic hits again, you can see they start going down in population for the first time in recent history, let's call it like that. And I still believe those numbers are not exactly real. Probably they are much lower than even said it is. But one thing that's kind of worries me a lot about them, it's median age. They start with 18 and now at 45.6, 46, which is insane how old they got. And the fertility rate, look at this, 6. That's an African state. And now you cannot even hit 1, it's 0.75, and probably it's even lower than that, probably it's 0.5, and it's gonna go down still in the future. So that's insane. Look at this, they got below replacement in 1980s, and then they got below 1 exactly in the when pandemic hits in 2020. So huge problems for the South Korea. The South Korea back in the day used to have 24 rank in the world population, now it's 29, so they got down a bit, but not that hugely, I would say. Look at this population, 1955, just 23% of the population living in an urban area, but now it's 82% in an urban area. And let me tell you, it's not, it looks like those modern countries, which is nice, but it's not going to be pretty. And you're going to see, I think we saw Seoul when I make that video, and now just pretty much you're going to look around the country and see how they're doing, and also in the history, let's see when they start and how they got here. Now in the future, in 2050, they're gonna say 45 million people, which again, it's a lie. Probably it's gonna be under 40 million, 100%. Almost minus 1% in 2050. Again, it's gonna be much bigger than that in this case, and they're gonna lose probably like almost 1 million people every year, which is insane, but it is what it is. And people are still coming in South Korea for whatever reason, but you can see they kind of slowed down, and probably even that is gonna start to go on minus. Depends about what's going to happen there in the region. They have that conflict in North Korea, which officially never stopped, but we're going to see how they're going to do in the future. But look at this median age, 57 years old, and that is going to be probably like 60 years old in 2050 by the real data. So you can start with 18, and then 100 years later we end up with 60. This is how bad it is. You can understand. It doesn't matter how much money you give them, the South Koreans. It's just, and how, not just money, how much, let's say, medical care, how much job security, or whatever they have. I think they don't have that either, but doesn't matter, they're still going down. And they say the fertility rate is gonna pick up a bit, which is a lie. Probably is gonna go that much further, probably gonna be like 0.5 in this case, if they get lucky, but there is no way they're gonna go up. And also, urban population, almost 100% right now, so already see 96%, that's for me, it's 100%, that's like we say 100%. And in a global rank they go down to 47, which is a huge decrease, but the other people just pretty much caught up with them. Now life expectancy there is really good, like in any pretty much Southeast Asian country, not pretty much everyone, but those developed ones, let's say in Southeast Asia. 85 years old for both sexes, not bad. Females 87, 88, not bad, and males around 81, 82. So they're gonna see they are improving a lot in that department, but that's gonna bite them in the ass when you have that 56.7 median age in 1950, and probably it's gonna be, like I say, around 60. Now infant mortality 2 and death under age of 5 2.6. That's really good. Have a good medical system. I can see that from those numbers. Now Seoul is the biggest city with 10 million people. You're gonna see in the top 10 they have cities with over 1 million in population. So you can see that number, where it's coming from, that 80, whatever it was, 82%. So that most of the people living in those big cities, and small ones also, they are pretty interesting for them. Now this is how they look. They have that conflict with North Korea, but I think they started in 1950, something like that. Look at this. We go back. It used to be one Korea, so they split in two in 45, 48, in around, let's say, in before the 50s, but it used to be just one North Korea then for quite a long time, I would say. And now it just pretty much changed. You can see, yeah, that's pretty much way too back in the history, so it's not worth checking that much. And this map has a problem because right now they just show it a different way. Let me show you that one. Okay, so if things are bad in South Korea, I can imagine how bad it's in North Korea. Let's make the border so I don't screw this up. South Korea. Where exactly is the line here, the demilitarized line? If they show us, they don't even show the line here. So okay, we're gonna stay pretty much in the south of the country. Let's see how exactly they live. We saw with the Seoul, so you can already have an idea if you watch that video. But for this one, yeah, it looks like in Eastern Europe right now, outside the countries. I don't know if we get a bad area, but if you show me this picture, I would say, yeah, 100% Eastern Europe. There's no way that's gonna be in Asia, but again, probably they have some influence from the North Korea. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but it shows like that. Like I say, in those parts of the country, in the outside the cities, most likely, at least I prefer that life, because you're gonna give you, I guess, much more freedom than you have in those main cities. Just feels pretty much living in those small apartments, and you can here you see a bit of garbage. I don't like it, but you at least have some space between you and the next building, except this one in the back. They just pretty much, I don't know how they allow them, not just in South Korea, but pretty much everywhere in the world, allow them to build a building that close to each other. I mean, what do you think is going to happen? The person who was living there, and I hate those, whatever those fences are, whatever, you're going to see the next neighbor, pretty much you're going to, there is pretty much space, but if you have like, if you go in Eastern Europe, you just pretty much put your hands on somebody windows, on your neighbor windows, that close they are building, especially the modern ones. The old ones used to have big spaces. Even the communists build better than these new developments. They have some spaces between them, but with the new ones, it's pretty much you can touch the other guy window if you want to. If you are a bit more flexible, you can actually enter in apartments, in your neighbor apartment, if is forgetting the windows open. Yeah. In South Korea, like I said, already see what exactly it looks like. I'm not that interested to just keep watching them, keep going on this map. But yeah, in the cities, that's why you're running the problems. Outside the cities, definitely a bit better than what you're gonna find in the cities. And we have again the same problem. I think we have the same problem even if in South Korea. Just when I go to Google Earth to just see the cities, what's happened there, it's always hard to load. In Japan was the same thing. I don't know what's happening. It's something from there, but most of them, they got hard to look. Look at this, how much field you have. It's much better to just live in those areas. Probably, yeah, not gonna make that much money or that many opportunities, but see, oh, look at this. They have go in the mountains. They have highways. Yeah, not something to be proud in South Korea. You can see why a lot of they don't have that growing population. Most of the people living in the cities, and the city looks like any other cities, pretty much horrible. Let's check this one real quick. Let's go, we can say randomly, let's see what's happened right there, how well the life it is here. And I can tell you right now, it's not. Look at this, all those cables look horrible. This guy is pretty much done with his life. He doesn't want to go to work. Yeah, nothing to be proud here. It looks horrible in my opinion. But yeah, that was the South Korea. I say for the future, yeah, you're gonna see some dropping in population really quick, and probably is gonna be an example for the history books. And they say how bad they think they can go, and just look at the South Korea, and if you have it. Yeah, I think if you're living in South Korea, I have no idea what you should do, because Asians pretty much hate each other for whatever reason. So if you wanna live there, which way? You can go in Japan, no way. China, not even close. North Korea, you just try that. Yeah, I don't know, maybe US, Europe is done already. Yeah, I don't know, the same old picture, let's say, go to US, otherwise you're done.